Okay. Hello, everyone. Chris here from IELTSadvantage.com with another success story. So today we have Adelina, and she's going to share her success with you guys. So Adelina, can you introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, hi everyone. So nice to meet you, Chris. Like it's the first time in 3 months that I'm seeing you properly. So far, I've seen you only on YouTube. Um, so I'm a recent pharmacy graduate, and I moved to London. Right now, I'm in London. I live in London, and I moved a few months ago. So I had to pass my IELTS exam in order to get registered as a pharmacist and to be able to work here as a pharmacist.
Excellent. And what scores did you get?
I didn't took any course because I was on a tight budget and only my husband was working.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I did like your way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
I know that almost every student struggles with the writing part.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to find a way of structuring my essays. And I found your website online, and I really liked it. Like it was the first website when everything was explained, each sentence was explained. So I tried to join your course, but for me it was just a little bit too much. So I found a friend who was correcting my essays and my speaking part is following your methods.
Mm-hmm. And what scores did you get eventually?
So for the writing and the speaking part, I scored a band 7, and the last listening and reading, it was a band 8.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Was that your first time?
Yeah, it was my first time. Like I had passed 7 years ago my Cambridge exam, but it was like a gap of 7 years when I didn't practice any English at all. So when I started learning English for my IELTS exam, I was like band 5. I know it was a band 5.
Wow.
It wasn't so good, my English. Like when I came here, I wasn't fluent at all, even if I've learned in the past so much English.
So if you were to give advice to someone who is in a similar situation to you, what advice would you give them?
So I think for each part you have to prepare. Like for reading, it's different to listening, writing, and speaking. But for me, it was the first one was the fact that I said, right now I have this time, like 3 months, and in 3 months I will take the test, and during these 3 months I will do something for my IELTS exam every day. And I seen this one in one of your students' schedule, and I said, like, I can do that one as well. As long as I'm staying home, I can do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's better to do a little bit every day,
Yeah.
because that's how our brains learn something. You know, our brains are not very good at trying to cram and do it the day before or the week before our test. But if we do a little bit every day, like same with things like exercise, you know, would it be better to exercise for 20 or 30 minutes every day, or do it, you know, all day the day before a race or something like that, you know, with that little bits of consistency throughout and make a huge difference. So that's great advice. And any other advice you would give to someone?
Okay, so I can tell you for each part what I did,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe the other ones will listen to
Yeah.
what I did,
Yeah.
because I didn't spend so much money. Like the money that I spent was on pen and paper,
Mm-hmm.
so it was extremely cheap for me.
Yeah.
So let's start with, let's say, the listening part and what I was struggling with. I did some like 30 complete listening tests,
Mm-hmm.
and I had problem with the misspelling.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't spelling correctly the word. So I just every time I was misspelling a word, I was writing down in a notebook, and I was copying it for many times, like in order to improve your spelling part. And also I had problems with the names and the addresses, and my friend started to dictate me names and addresses in order to improve like the spelling part. Also in Romanian, we have some letters like A, E, and U that are quite, like, you can misspell them when they are when someone is telling them in English. So I try to correct that one.
Perfect, perfect. These are the things that I tell my students all the time to, if you're doing practice tests, analyze your mistakes and find out why you are making that mistake. Now, someone listening, it might be spelling, other people, it might be vocabulary or grammar or listening skills or strategy. But the key thing, if you're practicing at home for free, is to actually look at your mistakes, and especially with reading and listening, and figure out why that is, and then do something actively to improve those mistakes. So you didn't need a teacher because you were doing all the correct things at home for free by yourself. So that was great. The way that if you knew you had a spelling issue, so you did something to fix those issues. So it was great.
I think it was obvious because you have like at the end the results, and you can
Well,
tell that you had a
But
spelling mistake.
you think it's obvious, but 99% of students don't do that. And when I speak to students, they say, I don't know why I got 6.5 in listening. Well, did you look at your mistakes? No. I say, okay. So, and then others, so an even smaller percentage of students will do something actively to fix their problems. So it's no wonder why you did so well, because you're doing two of the most important things that you need to do. Find out what mistakes you're making and fix those mistakes. So well done.
Okay, so for the reading part, um, I listened to your advice to read. Like I test in the past, like I had an exam for French, also for Spanish, and I was reading in French and Spanish. But for English, I never read a book, and I don't know why. So I googled on Amazon most romantic books, and I bought four of them on a discount, and I paid like £10. I think this was the most that I spent for this exam.
Did you enjoy the books?
Yeah. I tried to find something that I would enjoy, as you said in one of your videos. I know that some of the students can, maybe if they have a higher budget, they can buy a Kindle. You can download books for less than £1 a book. So also on Kindle, you can download the dictionaries. So if you have an unknown word, just to press and it will explain you. It's so easy, and at the end you'll have a list with all the words that you didn't know.
Well, you really did follow exactly what I said.
Yeah, I told you, I've seen like all of your YouTube videos.
Yeah, because there's no point in reading something you don't enjoy. Because if you read something you enjoy, you'll be more involved in that. You'll remember the vocabulary. You'll pay attention to the grammar, and also just from a practical point of view, if you enjoy something, you will consistently do it. But if a lot of people don't enjoy reading because the material they're reading is not interesting to them, so find something. For you, that was romance novels, but it could be about anything. And it's great advice about the Kindle. If you can afford a Kindle, they're really great because you can read anywhere, and the dictionary function is really useful for a learner.
Especially during the night, because they have that sleep mode.
Yeah,
it's really good, that
yeah.
one.
If you've got a husband or a wife and you don't want to wake them up,
Yeah.
the Kindle is great because you don't have to have all the lights on. So it's very practical to use. But you can get them for, I think, less than $100.
Yeah, I know. It's not so much. Like you can also have some on
Or
discounts,
you can get
maybe.
them on your phone. You can get an app on your phone, the Kindle app, and you can read them on your phone. But I think the Kindle is great. So, anything else? Or?
Oh, let me think. Yeah.
I know you've got a big list of things. We don't have
Yeah, I
we don't
know
have to
that
talk
one.
about
I
anything.
think I was struggling most with between writing and speaking. I think it was most speaking. So I've seen like that we had a student in order to improve her speaking. She got hired as a part-time in a Starbucks.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Like I would do that one. I can do it, but I couldn't make it because I didn't have all the paperwork, and I tried to get hired as a pharmacy assistant, which is way lower than a pharmacist.
Of course, yeah.
and I interviewed for a few, like 2 months. And after 2 months, someone told me that no one is going to hire you because if you pass that IELTS exam, you will become a pharmacist. So we are going to invest time and money in you, and you will go away.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I tried to volunteer, but I couldn't because of my pregnancy.
Okay.
Like each volunteer gets reviewed, and I I had like the chances to get injured
Yeah. Of course.
were higher for me, so I couldn't even
So
volunteer.
what did you do? How did you practice your speaking?
Uh, Actually, I was speaking with 1 month before my exam. I started speaking with my friend in English because everyone here in the household is Romanian, even when you go to the grocery stores in Romania.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I was in London. It was like I was living at home.
Uh-huh.
Um, at first, I tried that part when you said you record yourself and you are listening. Um, Actually, at first I thought that yes, I would ace this exam, but I wasn't so good at speaking. It wasn't a fluent
Well,
and
you're obviously
coherent.
very good because you could do
Yeah,
the video and you got a band 7. So, I mean,
yeah, but at first it wasn't good, and I thought it was because I was listening to my records, and when my friends told me like, let's do a mock test, and I just freeze. I didn't know what to say at that point. So for the speaking part, I counted down at least 50 complete speaking tests
wow.
because when I was doing with her as a mocking test, I couldn't answer the question. I was just staring, and I realized it's so different. And I was doing some stupid mistakes which I didn't do when I was alone. And I realized it's different when you have someone who is speaking like a native language in front of you,
Mm-hmm.
um, compared to when you are alone in your house and you're recording yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So for that, score like I realized what I have to do for that band 7. I had problem with the second part of the speaking. It wasn't coherent, and I was starting speaking about something else except the question, and that I know it's less than band 7. Um, so I tried recording myself, and she was like, I was doing mocking test, and she was saying me what I did wrong and what mistakes I did. At first, I realized it wasn't working so good. So when I started speaking, and she was correcting me, like she was rephrasing my ideas, and she was correcting my mistakes while I was speaking. And I did that for a month, like at least 2 hours per day. I did that. Um, I had problems with the part 3. I wasn't answering to the question, and I know if you don't answer to the question, like it's impossible to score a band 7.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I didn't like you have at the end you have to have a conclusion. Yeah. I even know during the exam when I had the first question for the band for the third part. I didn't conclude, and the examiner concluded for me, and I was like, yeah, my friend was telling me that one to do that one.
But
Um,
but I think the best thing about how you approach speaking was you found a way to practice. Like when I was talking about the video you watched about me, about other students who have found a way to practice. Like one got a job in Starbucks, another guy is like loved Game of Thrones and he watched that and he repeated everything in that. You found your friend to do it with you. If you really want to, you will find a way. There's thousands of different ways that you can practice your speaking. So, it's great that if you have the determination and you really want it, you'll be able to do it. So let's finish up with writing. What's how did you manage to score a 7 in writing?
well, at first, I can give you I still have my essays which were corrected by my friend,
Mm-hmm.
and were using the same method because I've seen on your website an essay band 5, an essay band 6.5, an essay band 9, and she was trying to apply your methods to
Mm-hmm.
my essays. And I know that the first ones were like, my English didn't sound not natural. It
Okay.
sounds like translated English. And I
Okay.
think the whole point in this one is to sound natural as possible. So
Mm-hmm.
I think I improved also my overall English by correcting my grammar. I was doing grammar mistakes, but
Mm-hmm.
they were silly ones. I knew the grammar from school, but I wasn't paying attention to my whole sentence. So I started like reading the same sentence 3 or 4 times in order to realize myself what mistakes I'm doing. I think I also improved my vocabulary while reading and noting down all the unknown words,
Mm-hmm.
um, which also helped me during like.
Well, you did it. I don't think I've met another student who just did exactly what I told them to do,
Mhm. Because
and
I
you
was
did it
like,
for free as well. So that's great, you know.
actually, I was desperate because I know that as the time passes, um, it will be harder for me because after giving birth, it will be like impossible to take the
Yeah.
exam, and I was desperate. I know I need that band 7, and I've seen so many students that are struggling, between that 6.5 and 7.
Mm-hmm. So when you have your baby, you'll take some time off, and then you'll get a job as a pharmacist?
Yeah, that's
Excellent,
yeah.
excellent. Okay, so it was great talking to you. I'm going to let you go because you're 8 months pregnant, so I don't want to keep you for too long. But thank you so much. It's going to be really useful for students who, like you, might not have a lot of money and want to just prepare, at home for free. Just one last question: how long did it take you? To prepare at home for free, the whole process.
Like almost 3 months, but in that
Okay.
3 months, I also went on a holiday for 2 weeks. So
Okay,
it was,
so 2.5 months. That's
yeah,
that's that's
that's okay.
that's really really good. That's really good. And best of luck with the baby. And
Yeah, thank you so much.
I hope everything goes well. And yeah, so
Thank you so much for everything. It was like I couldn't believe when I saw your email.
you're
But
welcome. You're welcome.
yeah,
It's always great to hear from successful students, and thank you so much for sharing your success with everyone. It will give lots of students motivation and hope that they can do it
yeah.
themselves. All right.
Okay.
So thanks,
Thank you.
Adelina, and good luck with
Bye.